Welcome to the Appraisal Red Flags, Underwriting and Lending in the UAD Era tutorial video. The goal of this video is to point out a few of the red flags and potential issues that lenders and their underwriting staff face with the new requirements that the GSEs have introduced as part of their Uniform Mortgage Data Program, or UMDP. As you're aware, the UMDP has a series of deadlines building up to the full integration date next year. The first deadline was the UAD, or the Uniform Appraisal Data Set, which went into effect on September 1st. The purpose of the UAD was to standardize data and information within the appraisal report. The next deadline will be December 1st, which is the day that the GSEs will require all appraisals not only meet the UAD requirement, but that all completed appraisal orders must be sent with the XML file attached as well. Finally, March 19, 2012 is the deadline that ties everything together. This is when the lenders will be required to deliver their entire UAD compliant appraisal reports with the XML file generated after the December 1st deadline. So let's go over some of the new changes. As you're probably aware, the GSEs have been working on a solution for UAD and UMDP implementation for over a year. Less than 2 weeks after the September 1st deadline, the Federal Housing Agency got behind UAD and made it a requirement effective January 1st, 2012. Then on September 29th, the Veterans Administration announced that they're backing the UAD as well, and they're making the requirement as of January 1st, 2012. So essentially everything must now be UAD compliant as of 2012. Even if you don't sell directly to any of these entities, there's a good chance that your investors do, which will probably lead them to having the UAD requirement as well. There were over 30 critical fields in the 1004 alone that changed with the new UAD regulations. The other forms that saw changes include the 1004 full appraisal, the 2055 drive-by form, the 1073 condo form, and the 1075 drive-by condo form. All four of these forms now have major items that require the underwriter or reviewer to take into consideration when reviewing the final appraisal. Some of the changes for addressing inconsistencies with the information would be data formats, input requirements, descriptions, and ratings. It's also going to standardize a lot of the information so that all appraisers are turning in the same information essentially. It improves data integrity related to home values. It strengthens the loan and underwriting process by promoting a more consistent view and understanding of appraisal data, and it supports processes to manage and mitigate the risk. In other words, the GSEs are looking for more consistency. As part of the inconsistencies that they were dealing with, the GSEs reviewed over 1.2 million properties, and here are some of the results that they found. In some cases, when you're talking about quality of construction, you'll notice that the answers that have been given back, brick ranks out at one of the highest at 16.1, frame at 7, vinyl at 8. But one of the things that you look at is that's the quality of construction. So what was happening was that the appraisers were choosing these items that were the entry for the description of it, but they were having to put modifiers to it. So now you'll see things like frame average or brick frame average, brick frame, stucco average. So all of those modifiers just didn't give any consistent data from one appraisal report to the next. The other side of it is the condition ratings. As you notice, 63.7 times the answer that was given for the condition ratings was average. Well, the problem that you're talking about, again, you'll have the modifiers, so average is going to have average superior, average same, average as is, and a lot of these other modifiers, including plus and minus signs. So all of this data, again, doesn't show any consistency over all of the products. Other examples of inconsistencies include the location descriptions. So when you're talking about location descriptions, 26.9% of the time, again, we would see the word average come into this. But when you're trying to give a description for a location, what is it average to? If you're talking about a major metropolitan like San Francisco or possibly a countryside, the word average really doesn't give a full location description. Other items that are going to be changing on the new forms that are coming up. The bathroom count is one of the biggest impacts. Now when you see the appraisal report and you see the bathroom count and it says 2.1, what that's telling you is that there are 2 full baths and 1 half bath. This should serve as a red flag to any underwriters that are reviewing where an appraiser might put in 2.5 and want to verify that information from there. The other side of it is that the 3/4 baths are now rounded up to full, and if anybody has a quarter bath, it rounds up to a half. So we're only going to have full and half baths in our reports. The next part deals with describing views. Used to be with describing views, appraisers left it up to their own information or whatever they wanted to put in there, and now this information has been brought up with a data set that they have to choose from. So now they're going to have to describe whether it's neutral, beneficial, or adverse. They'll also be able to choose up to 2 factors. If they choose other, it will require that they add a description to it. Some of the other sides of it, when we're talking about the appraisal red flags and what's changed in the new UAD era, what are the UAD requirements to look for? Underwriters have a certain list that they're already looking for. They know the items in the appraisal that they might want to cause a revision request. But with the new UAD and the new XML rules, how are they going to decipher the XML file? Where are we now going to store those files? How to deliver those files to the UCDP? And what potential errors might be in the report? So let's look at some of the items as the underwriter would look at them. As you're looking at this form, is it UAD compliant? Well, there's a couple of things that they would have to take into consideration. Some of the items include, are the percentages correct in the correct format? Is the bathroom count written correctly? Are the dates formatted according to the new ways that the UAD dictates that it has to be? And did the appraiser even use the right form? These are questions that might not visibly jump out at the underwriter as they're looking at the appraisal file. This is the typical view that the underwriter is going to see from their desktop. But here's another way of looking at it. This is what the appraiser sees from their desktop. All of the fields that you see marked in red here and are color-coded all have items that would be a UAD error. So what are some of these items? We're talking about the view descriptions, the correct form, the correct formatting of a date, and there are a number of other items that could potentially just be easily overlooked. But because Alamode worked directly with the GSCs during the introduction of the MISMO XML format, and because we also got behind the ANSI X12 structure way back in 1998 to 1999, we already had the framework for both platforms way back then. So fast forward 11 or 12 years ahead, and all we really had to do were some very minor tweaks in our code to update to the latest changes when it became the standard. So in doing that, we now have products, tools, and free educational material, just like the UAD Appraisals reference poster you see here, that will help ensure loan and production staff that they have the latest information and guides to help them with regulation and compliance guideline changes. Let's look at the UCD Portal Workflow at a glance. When a lender receives the completed appraisal for a home loan that they intend to sell to the GSEs, the lenders will upload the PDF and XML file to the Uniform Collateral Data Portal, or UCDP. When the file is initially uploaded, the report is checked for possible UAD errors, and during the initial upload of your appraisal files, lenders will be able to view the status of their submission, and they will see one of 4 progress statuses: in progress, successful, not successful, or rejected. If errors are found, the lender will then have the ability to request an override or resubmit the file to the appraiser to fix the noted errors. After correcting the errors and successfully resubmitting the file, the GSC will provide a doc file ID number that the lender will need in order for a final submission to the GSCs. When it comes to UAD compliance, there's a very small margin for errors to ensure the file package meets the requirement of the UCDP. So what are some of the potential errors that could lead to the file being rejected? One of the biggest possibilities of errors and rejected submission deals with some of the solutions that appraisal software companies have developed is offering to convert the appraiser's PDF file into the required XML format. The absolute best conversion solution is to have the XML file created when the PDF is created right from the appraiser's desktop. As you'll remember, I mentioned Alamode's adoption of MISMO XML and ANSI X12 back in the late 90s. What this did was give us an airtight solution to converting the data to XML. In comparison, most of the providers have chosen to use optical character recognition, or OCR. One of the things that you'll notice going through non-native XML and using a converter, you'll notice on the top before the OCR, this is the information that was directly in the appraiser's file. Once it had been run through a conversion tool, you'll notice that the way it has converted it is in some cases not even a readable material and or any kind of an answer. These types of jumbled conversions are definitely what could lead to a report being rejected or being sent back to the lender for another submission. So what are the potential costs for a lender that uses non-native XML files when they're submitting their reports? Well, without the XML file, again, there are very real costs associated. The first time that you submit to the GSEs, you're looking at a cost of $3.50 per successful appraisal data extraction to convert the PDF to the XML. So if that fails, the lender can then request that the XML file from the appraiser. Once they've gotten the report back, the lender can then resubmit it for a cost of $18 on the second conversion. If that fails, then the lender will be looking at paying $12 per page to have the document hand transcribed to get the XML data out of it. So as you'll notice, over 100 appraisals hand transcribed works out to roughly $20,400. So what's the solution? If you were considering having your internal development department at your branch, your office, or your location create an XML guide or UAD error readers, you're looking at possibly tens of thousands of dollars to ensure that the appraisal files and the supporting documentation meet the GSE's requirements. Other items that we've heard are upgrades to your LOS. We haven't heard of an LOS yet that's working on a UAD solution because the appraisal has always been an ancillary part of the loan file. The other solution that you could look at would be our UAD Reader. And a brilliantly simple solution that's free to everyone. It's by far the easiest and best solutions for lenders to not only have a way of reading the PDF, but it will also convert the gibberish of the XML file displayed in a readable format. It will also check the appraiser's XML file for UAD errors, display them, and give you the ability to jump directly to those errors for ease of revision requests. So as you're going through it, you'll notice when both of these files come back, opening it through the UAD Reader simply takes all of that XML data that you see at the very top and it converts it to a readable format as you'll see below. As you go through, the UAD Reader is also going to give you ability to view the XML in a readable format. It lets the reviewer click to the errors, send it to the borrower seamlessly, send to the UCDP seamlessly, and again, it's a free download for you. So let's go through a quick example of how the UAD Reader would work. Once you've gotten the notification that your appraisal has been completed, you can click on the View Appraisal to have it launched directly to the site where the PDF and the MISMO XML files can be downloaded. From here, you simply click on them to either open or save the reports, and for this example, we've saved them to the desktop just for easier viewing, and then I'll go back and get the MISMO XML file. I'll also save this one to my desktop because the UAD Reader serves as a default reader for any XML files. Later, whenever I click on the XML file, it will now open in the UAD Reader. From here, you can see the entire appraisal order in a PDF or view the XML as well. Once it goes to the XML, you'll notice all of the text language at the top has been converted to a readable format below. This is simply a review process and will not give you the ability to change the report. The UARR, or the Universal Appraisal Review Rules, gives you the ability to see all of the UAD errors, and as you click on them, you are taken directly to that field so you know exactly which revisions requests to make. From here, I can also go back and I have a number of choices that I can view the PDF, I can see the form in its entirety, and as I scroll through, I see all of the addenda and any disclosures or any attached documentation. I can also submit directly to the UCDP, and I can also make a revision request, as well as send it to the borrower. What about the lenders that want to streamline their entire process for not just only reading the appraisal data, but also have the ability to store all of their appraisal reports in one secure location, as well as have a direct plug-in with a GSE's UCD portal, and the ability to send the appraisal file to the borrower in a secure manner? DataCourier gives the lenders that ability. It takes the appraisal compliance and secure delivery a step further by giving the lender the ability to store all of the XML and PDF files in a secure location, as well as provide the ability to effortlessly forward the completed files to the UCD portal and to their borrowers in a secure and GLB compliant method. But what about those lenders that are looking for a little bit more? For those, I would recommend the Mercury Network. This is where you'll have access to over 20,000 appraisers nationwide with full national coverage in every city and every county. You'll also be able to upload a full fee panel and work with your preferred appraisers. You can also set customizable appraisal review rules, as well as customizable rules that for every order that goes out to your appraisers. You'll also have the option of double blind ordering solution, which is in compliance with Dodd-Frank when you're dealing with appraiser independence, and also a compliant ordering and receiving method as well. Think of the Mercury Network as a full turnkey solution for lenders that are looking to have complete control of the appraisal process without using third-party appraisal management companies, or AMCs, that sometimes could produce lower quality appraisal work because of the split fee that they negotiate with the appraiser. On average, the Mercury Network handles over 10,000 appraisal orders per day. It is by far the easiest solution for lenders that want the convenience of streamlining their appraisal ordering for their appraisal desk, or for that want their LOs and processors to manage their appraisal orders without the risk of violating the appraiser independence regulation of Dodd-Frank. So here are a few questions to ask yourself regarding your own UMDP compliance solution. How will your appraisals be submitted to the GSEs? Do you have a direct connection to UCDP, or are you using another party? How are you getting the original data from the appraiser? Will it be the PDFs or native XML, or both? If you're only receiving PDFs, how will the data be extracted? Who is responsible, your vendor or you, for any fees that are associated to the PDF extraction? And finally, when the PDF extraction fails, what's the process for resubmission to the GSEs? The best solution is to visit our website at mercuryvmp.com and sign up there for the UAD Compliance Checklist that we make available. This will give you a series of interactive checklists that you can ask your vendors directly to see how ready they are for the UMDP process as well. So if you'd like to schedule a demo, we would be happy to schedule a personal walkthrough with you and do a webinar or a one-on-one, or we could also schedule a group call with you as well. You can reach our sales department at 800-434-7260 and speak with any of our account executives who will be glad to schedule a time with you. Our customer relations division helps out those customers that once they've gotten their profile set up, they help them adjust to their appraisers and get them added to their fee panel and set up all of their preferences and their settings for whenever they start ordering. Another way that you can get more information is also visit us online at mercuryvmp.com. To sign up for the free UAD Reader, simply visit us online at mercuryvmp.com/UADReader and click the Download Now button. Again, there's no sign up required and you'll be using it within minutes. We hope that this class has helped you get a better understanding of all of the changes that are coming directly with the UMDP initiative from the GSEs.